Though, and today I'm going to talk about the estimating regression parameter. First of all, I'm going to talk about the conceptual and followed by the application. So, regression parameter can be defined as the statistical method to determine the quantitative relationship between the two or more variables, or a change in one dependent variable is associated and depend on one or more independent variable. But first of all, let's look at the only two variables where one is dependent and one is independent. In this case, it is called simple linear model, which involving the x and y axis if we draw the model. So one is a dependent variable in this case, and the equation is in linear form. x1 is the independent, b1 is the slope intercept, and b0 is the intercept. Absolute norm is the random error term, and in the graph we can see the red line, which is the prediction trend line, and the dot are the actual data point. So we draw the best fit line using the actual data point, and how far from there is called the residual distance. So we use this model to minimize the error and to find the best representation of the data. So to minimize the residual distance and find more accurate representation of the data, we can use a true regression line, which can be found using the principle of least square method, which can be simpler and represented by the tabular method. So in the table, we can see the data point and two variables. Data can be infinite, and it is represented by the n, and the summation of the variable according to the table, and then we can calculate using the equation given below. So let's talk about the application in our real life. So in electrical engineering major, which is my major, we can use this method to test whether the Ohm's law is valid or not valid. So in Ohm's law, as we know, which is V is equal to IR, we can draw the linear graph using the two axes, voltage and current. So they are directly proportional. So V and I is directly proportional, so we can draw one dependent and one independent. So we can get so many data when we use testing kits in our circuit, but when we use it and then draw it in a graph, we can graph as shown in the presentation, so we can test whether it is valid or not. So this is my end of presentation.